So there is another article upon the multiple slew of articles about Trump doing everything he can to try to overturn the results, which is a losing battle. And pretty much he lost. And this man does any and everything to try to prove that he is the winner when he isn't the winner. So, in another legal blow to Trump, PA Supreme Court tosses the suit challenging mail-in ballots. So, you see that this is just in. And this is Dominique Masbergen, senior reporter at Huffington Post. And so, Pennsylvania, that's PA, highest court dismissed a lawsuit on Saturday from the U.S. Representative Mike Kelly, Republican, and other Republicans who sought to challenge the legitimacy of the approximately 2.6 million mail-in ballots cast in the state during the November general election. In a unanimous decision, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court threw out the lower court's order issued by the Commonwealth Court Judge Patricia McCollum on Wednesday in response to the suit that had temporarily halted the certification of remaining contests in the state. The state Supreme Court said Kelly and the other Republican plaintiffs were much too late in filing their lawsuit, which had argued that Pennsylvania's vote-by-mail statute signed into law in 2019 was unconstitutional. Kelly, a vocal ally of President Donald Trump, and the other plaintiffs has sought to either toss out all the mail-in ballots from the general election or to invalidate the election result entirely and order the state Republican-controlled legislature to choose Pennsylvania's presidential electors. The state Supreme Court, however, scoffed at the idea. It is beyond cavil that petitioners fail to act with due diligence in presenting the instant claim. The court wrote in its opinion using a term that means petty or unnecessary, which I have to agree. The whole attempt that Trump is using and the administration along with it is petty and most definitely unnecessary. So Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro celebrated the ruling as another win for democracy. Breaking. We just notched another win for democracy. Pennsylvania Supreme Court has dismissed the suit that was attempting to throw out the votes of 2.5 million Pennsylvanians and halt certification. And so this is the case of Commonwealth Court that had earlier blocked the certification. So it's shown here so you can look it up for yourself. As the Philadelphia Inquirer noted, the court's ruling marks the end of to the many lawsuits filed by the Trump campaign and its allies to challenge Pennsylvania's election results. About a dozen legal challenges were filed, the paper said, and the Trump campaign lost all but except one. President, I believe Ohio was the one that they won. So President-elect Joe Biden won Pennsylvania by more than 81,000 votes, a result certified by Governor Tom Wolf on Tuesday. A day later, Wolf appealed McCullough's lower court decision to the Supreme Court, saying that there was no conceivable justification to stymie the certification of Pennsylvania's votes. So since the birth of our nation nearly 250 years ago, no court has ever issued an order purporting to interfere with a state's ascertaining of its presidential electors until today, Wolf administration said in its appeal. And so that's pretty much the article. And you'll see, I think there was a photo of Trump, and that's not showing, so it's not that important. But, you know, it's just been really sad because he can't even be a good loser when it comes to this and move on with his life. It's like a thorn in your side, and you constantly have that gnawing at you, and you just say, you know what, I just want to totally just get rid of this and alleviate it and be done with it. And that's the way he makes some people feel. It's like he keeps going on and on and on about this. Just take the loss, move on with your life, work on other things. Like work on those lawsuits that you got from NAACP when you were making it hard for colored people in some states to vote. And work on probably lawsuits that you might have for when you, as in Trump, was supposedly had an ally in the postal department who helped take all those sorting machines out and make it harder for people to even send in their votes. And so that kind of slowed the mail down for a while. So I'm sure there are lawsuits that are ramping up about that. And so what he needs to do is work on those lawsuits that are against him instead of trying to sue other people over a vote. So I don't know. I can just tell you as much, and this is my opinion, that anybody that will do all of this is not somebody I would want to be running the country. I think he really put a lot of stress on a lot of people and unnecessary debate. And but then when you look at it in hindsight, you think we learned a real valuable lesson about the way people think in this world. I feel as though even when people say that they're not political, that's a political statement. A lot of the things that have happened that have led up to all of this, this was probably one of the biggest turnouts of elections ever there was. And you got to see people who, whatever their beliefs, if it was religion, if it was non-religion, if it was had to do with race, if it had to do with education, background, you got a lesson in how the real world operates and how people think. And as much as people will sit up there and basically lie and tell you they're not into politics, and some people may be not really heavily into politics, there's still some politics there to be had. You found that people, even the ones that weren't really paying as much attention, were starting to pay attention and starting to read about things and learn how this affects them in some type of way. And when you're passionate about something, you're going to do everything you can to make your voice heard, even if it means voting. As little as that may seem insignificant, those votes meant a lot to a lot of people. And so even people who assume that their votes weren't seen, they were seen. Anytime you had 3 counties, I believe it was Orange County, Fresno, and then Los Angeles County, where Republicans groups, certain ones, not all, but there were certain groups that were putting fake ballot boxes there so they could harvest votes. Anytime you see that kind of stuff happening, and we found where some postal workers were taking ballots home, either they were throwing them in the trash, There were a lot of things that occurred during this time, and it was so important. And a lot of those people got in trouble. A lot of those people that they found doing that, they got in a lot of trouble. You had one place where they actually had a center, and it was an official voting center, and they called themselves a voting center. And they had people coming in as if they were voting, and they weren't official. And they said they were going to drive the ballots to an official spot. And I think we've seen, well, I don't even want to say that because never know what's going to happen next, but we've seen a lot. That's all I can say. And this right here was something you can never forget. Most definitely. I mean, it was just a historical moment that a lot of us are not aware. We've been made to be aware that this election was the real deal. I mean, people, they were doing whatever they could in the middle of a pandemic. People were concerned. You had all these issues, these social issues that were going on, and it's still going on. The protests, you still have protests, and you still have, social issues that surround divisiveness and divided nations, and race plays a key role in it, especially here in the U.S. and and even in other places. I'm noticing. Um, I just I'm at a loss for words, but I will say that earlier today I was in a parking lot and there was this guy and he was trying to get people to give him some money. And I don't know if he was trying to get people to sign something or anyway, I seen him in the parking lot and he always targets women. And there was one woman he was targeting, and it's usually African American women. He always targets them. And he started to go in on the woman about how he, why would you not vote for Trump, and what he felt about Biden and all these things like that. And it almost felt like he wanted to start a conflict, just to rile her up. And this woman was up in age, and she was pretty stern, and she was quick to tell him, "You're wrong. Trump lost, and you don't know what you're talking about." And she asked, "Did you vote?" You probably didn't. So I kind of looked at that and I said to myself, at least she was honest, and she didn't back down. But he seemed like he was a little bit off. And, I've seen him a couple of times, that I have been up there. And this was, I think, in an area where people were shopping. And he's always out there, and I believe what he does is he tries to act like he's signing people up for something, but I'm believing it may be a hustle so he can panhandle. It's a nifty way to panhandle. And he just seems like he's a pest, and he always targets the African American women in the parking lot, which is pretty problematic because around this time of the year, you don't know if people are going shopping for the holidays, and if he's there, if he's going to get upset at a woman and attack her or whatever. Because some women don't want to be bothered because they've seen him before. And I've seen the looks that they give him. And so he, you have a lot of that going on. So I still believe that there are a lot of people who are really misinformed, and they're not understanding that, when you look at the way Trump is approaching all of this, he's not somebody, even, like when he first was elected, I didn't vote for him. And the second time, I didn't vote for him. And if he tries to run ever again, I will never. And hear me, if you don't hear me on this video. I will never vote for him. Ever. Never. Never did and never will. I just don't see him being fit to run a country. I just feel like he has a lot of issues and that he's dangerous. And anytime you got people believing conspiracy theories to further a president, that to me spells danger. And you even got people wanting to hurt people because they don't believe in these theories. Those are not politicians that I would want to be looking up to at all. I've even heard celebrities supporting them. And I'm going to add to this. Recently on Twitter, Ice Cube, I'm mentioning him. He's the rapper. He had put out this idea of a contract, and it was supposed to be in collaboration with the Trump administration. Later, people found out who he was collaborating with, and he then said that he had made, an open offer for any one of them to work with him on those issues. But however, Kamala Harris said that he never returned her call or he didn't open up the line so that she could converse with him. I'm also hearing a Black Lives Matter activist said that she had also spoke with him or wanted to speak with him, and he never got back with her either. And those are two black women. And so when I looked at the contract, I mentioned you don't have anything in there about women, black women in particular. And so that struck me as odd. But then I wasn't surprised because of a lot of what has been shown to us. Now, I'm going to push the envelope here. I know a lot of people like some of these celebrities and some of these rap artists, but when you listen to the music that they put out back in the late 80s, early 90s, a lot of that music was not empathetic to black women. A lot of it was very derogatory. A lot of it was very violent. It called women bitches and hoes. Just to be blunt, it made it look as though that black women were not meant for anything but the bed, and and to not be treated with respect and to be treated in the lowest form. And you weren't good for anything other than that. And I believe that scarred our culture in a lot of ways to where men did not see black women as desirable for being a wife or being a person that they would want to desire having a family with. And I believe that has caused a lot of problems in the black culture to where when men on the outside, they hear black men referring to their women as bitches and hoes, then they're wondering, okay, why are you calling these women this? And what was sad is that these same males that do this, they go and marry women that aren't of color, but then when they get divorced or they get thrown, underneath three buses by white females, they want your sympathy. And I've noticed that, and it's sort of an ugly payback. It's as if one relationship is going to be better than the other because the person is from a different background, culture background. Women are women, maybe from a different country, maybe have a different way of doing things, but at the end of the day, we're all still women. And so what you treat one woman like doesn't mean that you're going to all of a sudden miraculously change overnight and treat other women a whole nother way. It may start off like that, but it definitely won't end like that. Because if you view women to the lowest of form, then you eventually will transfer that on to other women, even if they aren't black. Um, and I do believe that because I've seen some relationships that are interracial relationships that go very sour. And the woman, maybe start off the relationship seems to be okay and then it turns into something righty. Um, I believe it has a lot to do with politics as well. I know it seems like I veered off into a whole nother situation, but politics also has a lot to do with the relationships and how you view people. And, just like this election, and, people, well, I believe I heard they had I don't know if it was an app or a social media site where you can date people who are Republican, and then maybe vice versa. But I heard it's one is called a Trump dating site. And so I believe the way people view life in politics also has a lot to do with how they view relationships. So if you're conservative, you assume that, I would say, if the person isn't Candace Owens, isn't a Republican, a black Republican woman, that she must be in the lowest form and that she's not smart enough to get an education and do things for herself and reach for positive goals in life. She has to be a Republican and she has to be conservative and religious. She can't be anything other than that. And I believe it affects the way people believe in who they're going to be involved in relationships with. And a lot of that judgment is clouded because you don't have to be a Republican. You don't have to be somebody that went to Spelman. You don't have to be somebody that went to USC even. You could have went to college. May not be USC. It could be another college and you probably obtained degrees. You may not be a Republican, but you're smart enough to think for yourself and to think for yourself and to get a career and hold down a job just the same as anyone else, whether you're a Republican or not, and whether you're black or not. And so I feel like all of this has led up to who people desire to get in relationships with. And with the thing with Ice Cube, he supposedly had opportunities to talk to two black women who were in political positions. One an activist and one that's not only an activist but now the vice president of the United States. And I feel like some men, and let me be honest, some men that are black don't want to see black women succeed. They hate that. They don't want to see you succeed. I don't know what that is, but you have a group of them that are on social media. They can't wait to see you fail, or they like to see you not succeed. And I don't know if that is something that they have gone around on social media and they've got a little clique together and they just want to make things difficult just for the sake of being difficult. Maybe they had bad relationships or they had a bad experience in their life and they're just trying to make everybody's life a living hell behind it. So anyway, this rapper, he gets this thing going with the Trump administration. People get wind of it and they find out about it. And that felt like betrayal because here you got a man who takes out an $85,000 ad to basically state that he wanted to bring back the death penalty because he accused 5 young men of color of raping a white woman in Central Park. I believe it was Central Park. And this was in the 90s, I believe. The 80s and 90s. And here you got all these black people that are getting killed or gunned down. You don't hear Trump say anything about it. Yet, you have a black rapper who most of his music back in the days said all these nasty things about black women, and somehow he was able to elevate himself. He's not alone. There's some others. They had music that talked about black women like they were lower than the earth. And they've somehow catapulted themselves to these careers and this status where people look to them at the highest of the high, as if they can do no error. And I just really think that's disgusting. That's my opinion. You don't like it? Sorry to say, everybody is not going to be happy about everything that I say because I'm very honest, I'm very frank about it. I feel like a lot of those rap videos were very disrespectful to black women, and these are the same men that you see that wanted to support Trump, which don't surprise me. These are the same men that years later you find out they're getting these divorces, and these women come out telling you that they cheated through the whole marriage, which I'm not surprised about. These are the same people that are on social media, they on radio shows and talk shows talking down about their own people. It's disgusting. But these are the same individuals, if they get shot by the police or if something happens to them, those same women that they talk down on are the very ones that come to the forefront in their defense to try to save them and pull them up. That is a question that I'll never be able to answer right there. I don't know if it's an undying how would you say, loyalty because of the culture or because of the fact that you see past even the bitterness and the sourness of an individual that has this deep-seated hatred towards people that look like him. You see your son, you see your brother, you see your father. You don't see all of that. Maybe that's the answer. Well, like this article said, breaking news that a win for democracy. I wonder where this country will head if we have people that will see all these people get killed, all these protests take place, and not say anything in their defense, but wait till the very last moment, to the very end on election year, to state how he's going to put forth some money in regard to black folks. And then a rapper believes that that is going to happen. And it gets mad because people see right through it and know that this person is nothing but a liar and a deceiver. And he'll do anything to gain or garner votes from black people who are ignorant that don't read anything. Anyway, I'm going to let this video go, but I'm glad that we're able to see a lot. We're able to see a lot in celebrities. We're able to see people who supported Trump, that what their views are, bailing killers out of prison, like the guy that's the actor from Silver Spoons. He bailed Kyle Rittenhouse out of prison. And took photos with him as if he's a movie star. And we know that no black person can walk through a crowd of protesters with assault rifles and claim that they're doing the greater good because of a political position they have. These are things that I feel that we've seen a lot. And even in this article, all these lawsuits, when a person can't move on with their life. Anyway, I'm going to let this video go. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for listening.